Today we're learning how to do the two-color Italian tubular cast-on. And this is a cast-on that you mostly see in two-color brioche stitch, which I have a sample here. You can see in two-color brioche, which appears similar to a one-by-one rib. We've got this pink color, this bright pink color on one side, and this pale gray pink color on the other side. Those are the two colors that you'll be working with. Just looking at here, we're going to be doing this cast on where you're using both colors to make that cast on edge completely tubular. It's a really, really beautiful finish. It's also functional as well. It's very elastic, but very, very durable. So I'm going to use these two colors to demonstrate the technique today, a pink and a kind of a light seafoam green. And how we're going to start is with a slip knot, but we're going to be doing the slip knot with both yarns held together. So I hold both yarns together like this as one, and I make a loop, pull a new loop through, and I've made a slip knot. You can tighten that down. And the slip knot in both colors is where we start. Now the setup for this cast-on feels similar in the hand to a long tail cast-on, the way that you're holding the yarns as you work. So if you're familiar with that cast-on, this shouldn't feel too foreign to you. So to start, we're going to ignore the yarn tails here. I like to just hold them up against my needle to keep them out of the way. And keep a finger on the slip knot as well, just to keep that secure. And what you're going to do is make a diamond in your right hand like this. So you have one color going over your thumb, one color going over your pointer. And we're going to have our hands in this position the entire time for the cast on. And I'm going to be doing all the maneuvering with my right hand, changing my needle position to add these stitches in. Now anytime you're working a tubular cast on, you're casting on a knit and a purl one after the other, meaning we're always setting up for some variation of one-by-one rib with this cast on. So this isn't necessarily a cast on you would want to do if you were going right into garter stitch or stockinette stitch, but if you're doing a one-by-one rib or a brioche stitch, this is a beautiful, beautiful way to start your fabric. Okay, so I'm going to start with my light blue yarn over my thumb, the pink yarn over my pointer. And I'm going to want those two yarns in that position the entire time. You can do this cast on, as I'm going to show you, for flat knitting or circular knitting. It doesn't matter. We're going to do the full cast on, and then you would either join into the round to work circularly or continue working flat. And you can also do this for a number of even or odd numbered stitches. So it doesn't matter what your cast on count is. Usually you'll have an even number of stitches for circular knitting and an odd number of stitches for flat knitting, so it works for either one. Okay, so here's how you do the technique. We're holding the yarns in this diamond, and the very first, there's two types of stitches that we're going to be making. The first one, we go under the yarn in front. I consider this yarn in front and this yarn in back because this yarn is closest to me. So we're going to go under the front yarn, and then over the yarn and back, and swing the needle out under both. And that's one stitch. And you can see I've got one pink stitch on my needle, and the blue yarn is not making a stitch. Now the step two is to do the opposite, to go under the yarn and back, over the yarn in front, and then swing out under both. And you can see that I've just created a second stitch with the blue. And that's all there is to it. We're going to do that over and over and over to create the ribbed cast on here. So I'm going to start again, go under the yarn in front, over the yarn in back, swing out, got another stitch, and then under the yarn in back, over the yarn in front, swing out, and I have two more. Now the nice thing about this cast on is once you get it in your hands, it's quite fast. You just get this very rhythmic motion. One thing you'll notice that I do to keep my cast on nice and tight and clean is after I make a stitch, I just kind of shift my yarn back and forth a little bit just to get that stitch nice and tight on the needle. And the first thing is that this is a squirrely cast on, in that right now, if I were to drop my yarns, the cast on would just start to unravel because there's no actual secured loop on the end. We're just doing this wrap for we're just wrapping all these stitches around the needle. So one of the reasons people struggle with this cast on is because when you need to start knitting, there's nothing securing the end of it. So one trick that I like to do, I'm casting on 21 stitches, so I'm at 20 stitches right now. I like to cast on the number of stitches I need -1, and that final stitch, instead of making that final stitch like this, the way that I have been, just with the slipping, I'm actually going, and you see my last stitch on the needle is blue, so my final stitch that I'm about to cast on needs to be pink, but instead of doing it the way I've been doing it, I make a backward loop. So I just come under the yarn, so I'm actually just putting a backward loop of the pink on the needle and tightening it, and now I can drop my yarns and my cast on's not going anywhere. If you've learned this technique elsewhere before, you may have seen someone just finish it without that backward loop, and as they're starting their knitting, they're really needing to be careful about holding these so that that whole cast on doesn't unravel. I make it a lot easier on myself and just make that backward loop so that you have this secure and you could set it down and come back to it, or make the adjustments in your hands that you need to in getting ready to knit, and those are going to be secure there. So that's a little trick that I think is super helpful. Also, you see I have a small number of cast-on stitches here, which is really easy. They all fit on my needle. But if I was casting on a project like a sweater, body of a sweater or a shawl, something that had a really big cast-on edge, this cast-on edge can get a little bit more unruly. It's easier to get twists in it or to start having it unravel if you let go of your yarn. So again, that little securing stitch at this point would be super helpful in keeping the cast on where it is. And also this would be the point where I would look back on my cast on before proceeding and just make sure that all of those, the base of all those stitches is all in line along the bottom of my needle. And if that was true, if I had a whole bunch of stitches out here, I would do the same thing, making sure this is super straight with no twists and turns in it before I start working the next row. One other thing I want to say is that it's good to use a needle 1 or 2 sizes smaller when you're doing this cast on than the needle that you're actually going to be using to knit the fabric, just because of that looseness. Sometimes knitters find that this cast on is a little loose and flares a little if they're not accommodating for that with a smaller needle. So I'm working on a 4 right now, a US 4. But I would be preparing to work with a US 6 for my brioche stitch that I'm going to be knitting into this cast on. One other thing that I want to point out before we move on is that these stitches have now been set up for a knit purl rib or a brioche stitch. You can see if you look really closely that at the bottom of my blue stitches here I have a little purl bump, and at the bottom of my pink stitches I don't. So the pink stitches are set up to be knit on this row, and the purl stitches, or the blue stitches, are set up to be purls. So you can see we're already set up for a 1x1 rib to flow directly out of this cast on. Now that's the main cast on that we've just done, and I'm going to show you an optional thing that you can do right now before we go right into our brioche stitch. You can go straight into knitting brioche or straight into knitting a 1x1 rib right now from the cast on we've already done, or you can do what I'm about to do, which is an optional pair of tubular rows, which is just going to give the edge a little bit more elasticity and durability. It's a personal preference, so I would say try it both ways and see what you like. My personal preference is to add the tubular rows, which I'll show you now. So I'm setting up for 2-color brioche stitch, and the way that we work that is I'm going to work 1 row across in the blue, and then I'm going to come back and work another row across in the pink. So here's how the optional tubular rows are worked. I'm knitting flat here, so I'm treating this stitch, my first stitch and my last stitch, as a selvage, so those would not be considered part of my stitch pattern. So this is the selvage stitch here, and I'm going to knit that. I'm going to work a garter stitch selvage in my demo. Now you can see that I have a blue stitch here, and this is a knit stitch. There's no purl bump underneath it, but you can see that the stitch is mounted a little bit differently. The very first row you work, you're going to be knitting your stitches through the back loop, so they're not twisted. So I'm going to go into this stitch through the back loop and knit it. Now this next stitch, which is a purl stitch, you can see there's a little purl bump right underneath it. I'm going to bring my yarn to front, slip that stitch, and then bring my yarn to back and go across that way. So I'm going to knit through the back loop, bring yarn forward, slip the pink, bring yarn back, knit through the back loop, the end of my row. Now here's another important thing to note. It looks like I've got 2 stitches left, but remember that last stitch, which is a double stitch, 2 strands of the yarn, that's my slip knot. So I do not want to work that as a stitch. So that is not considered a stitch. This second, what appears to be the second to last stitch, that's actually my selvage. That's my last stitch. So I'm going to work my selvage. And now that I'm here, you can either just let that fall off, or you could slip it on and just sort of keep it there. I just usually let mine fall off and hold there for a few more rows before I undo that slip knot. So you're just going to have this slip knot kind of hanging out here, and that's okay. Okay, and now you see my blue yarn, my blue working yarn is over here, and my pink working yarn is still over here. So I'm going to slide my needle back, and you need to do this on a circular needle or a double pointed needle in order to be able to do that. So now I've slid it back so my pink is now in position to work. And again, I've got this selvage stitch here, so I'm going to just work that normally. Now I do the opposite. So the first time I went across only working the knits and slipping the purls. Now I'm going to work the purls with the pink and slip the knits. So I have my blue knit stitch here. I'm going to slip that purlwise, bring yarn forward, purl, bring yarn back, slip at the end of my row, slip that second to last stitch. And even though this stitch is blue, it is my selvage, so I am working it with both colors on each row. And ignoring, again, this little knot at the end, which I'll pull out just a bit. So now you can see that with those tubular rows, I've got, you can really see clearly one side of my cast on is fully pink, and one side of my cast on is fully blue. And those colors are split right down the middle on the underneath. It's a really, really beautiful cast on. Okay, so I've gone back and knit a few inches in 2-color brioche so that you can see how the brioche stitch integrates with the 2-color cast on that we've done. I've also placed a marker here just to show you that slip knot that we started with that doesn't actually end up being a stitch on in your work, as we've already discussed. But this is how it would look if you left it in the knot as you've worked. And so I put this marker in here just to hold it, but this is what you'll see hanging off of the corner of your work, this little tiny slip knot. And all you need to do is just undo it. And now the 2 tails of each color that you started with are just coming straight out of your cast on edge with no knot. So it's nice and smooth. Now one thing I want to point out here is we did those 2 optional tubular rows, which you can do or you can leave out. It's totally up to you as in terms of your preference. If we look at the cast on straight on from here, you can see this half and half. There's half of the light blue and half of the pink. So the cast on edge, the tubular edge is split right down the middle with each color favoring one side. But if you look closely, you can see there's a little strand. If you look at these 2 knit columns, there's a little strand of blue yarn slipping in between. And there's the same thing over here, the little strand of pink slipped between these columns. That little strand is the tubular rows that we worked. And those tubular rows add a little bit of durability and elasticity to the edge. But they've also got that little bit of that visual difference as well. So I've got a sample here that exemplifies this cast on very beautifully for this 2-color brioche scarf. And this cast on did not use the tubular edge. So it doesn't appear too much different than this, but you can see mine has that little line going across the bottom. It's the only visual difference, but either one is fine. It's completely up to you on which one you prefer.